don't even realize that Soto's only had 2 seasons prior to this one that he's had 30 home runs or more. So he's going to break that. He's now at, what, 33? His career high is 35. But the Yankees deserve a ton of credit for making that aggressive move. And I think a lot of the, maybe not joy, because I do think Yankee fans are enjoying it to a certain extent, but a lot of the celebration that would have taken place had this been a long-term deal was taken away because he's, in fact, a free agent. He's going to be a free agent. He's in his walk year. And there's the thought of potentially losing him. But the Yankees do have Juan Soto right now. He is producing at a ridiculous level. And then the part that really is the most important part, they have to keep him. The New York Yankees are not in a position where they can let Juan Soto go and survive. I'm sorry, they can't. He's been so good, so great. He's backing them into a corner that whatever the ridiculous price may be, they have to pay it to retain Juan Soto.
Listen, I think that Yankee fans, I can only speak for myself, but I from what I hear, from what I gather, I think Yankee fans are supremely confident that they will. Now, what I
could be arrogance, though, blind arrogance.
Maybe. I mean, it could be a little bit of that. I just think when you look at the experience so far, and not that you can necessarily quantify vibe, but for lack of a better description, I mean, the vibe that Juan Soto was emitting so far here has been, looks like he just, I mean, why would you want to leave? But again, somebody could coerce him. Somebody else could coerce him to leave if there's some crazy, irresponsible offer. Although I do think he stays here. So I don't disagree with your premise that, you know, that he should stay and that the Yankees need to. I don't know about that, and I don't even really care about the less money. I'm not saying it's not important. Listen, they
didn't offer Judge the most money. So this is a track record. This is not, oh, my God, maybe the Yankees might lose somebody. It's, hey, the Yankees have not operated. They keep talking about the luxury tax. They offered Judge less money.
I haven't heard them say it in a while.
Well,
it's like they're saying it every day. What are they saying?
They've said it for years. They even said it this year. They even said it as it pertains to Soto. Like, Hal has said it. The Yankees have talked about that. It shouldn't be a thing with them when it comes to retaining Juan Soto.
I don't think it will be with him.
Right.
Now, again, there's other limitations. You know, do I think they could have done more at the trade deadline? Sure. Especially now with Chisholm out. I mean, you kind of see it's like back to the bare bones roster. He injected so much athleticism. Hopefully he's not out for a while. Then you kind of get back. You remember, like, outside of Soto and Judge, like what this team was for 5 or 6 weeks because it's not a really, really good roster. Listen, I think this is a very interesting thing to I look at it this way with the Yankees. So they're going to win 100 games, 98 games, whatever it is, and we'll see what happens in October. Hopefully it's a long run and it's fun, right? But we sit here for a team that's on the precipice of winning high 90s, 100-ish wins. And next year, like, because this ties into Soto and his future, we still don't know who their first baseman is. We don't know who their second baseman is. We assume that Chisholm will be a third baseman, although you never know. He can move to the outfield at some point if you lose Soto, whatever. I believe Wells is the catcher, so I believe that that's been solidified. You don't necessarily know who's playing left field because Verdugo's a free agent, and you don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Dominguez, but until he gets up here, you don't know for sure. You don't know who the closer's going to be, and you probably don't know at least, I mean, conservatively speaking, 20 to 40% of the starting rotation. So I say this because, Sal's not wrong. Of course, the Yankees need to do everything possible. It's a central casting. He's 25. He's a lefty. He's amazing. He just looks like he was born to wear pinstripes. Keep him. But if they didn't, and I want to be clear, they need to keep him. But I want to push back and say, even if they failed to keep him, I think that there's still a way to be really good.
Yeah, but that's
with that money.
Okay, maybe you could build a decent team. Like you don't need superstars to have a good team. You can't do that to the fans. There's no way the fans, after tasting this greatness, as McMonagle always tweets, and I love when he does it, Juan Soto is a Yankee. He might not be at the end of the year, but he is a Yankee right now. And after experiencing
that, of course he's a Yankee. Well, I don't know what that means.
Meaning, like,
enjoy it now?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. All right.
Because people will talk about, like myself, whatever, talking about Juan Soto's going to leave.
Oh, I got you.
Well, right now he is a Yankee.
That's
and Yankee fans are enjoying every second of it, as they should be.
Yeah.
This is historic.
It's fun.
This is remarkable. It's great. It is fun. Your team went out there and made a big move and delivered a superstar. He he's living up to the hype in year one in New York. Like, this doesn't happen. It should not go overlooked. And I do think it does to a certain extent, even with Judge, just because we take it for granted. Like, yeah, they're great. All right, they matched a couple of homers again, but the Yankees are, still maybe not clicking on all cylinders. They still have some flaws, which they do. But if you just sit and appreciate the greatness of what Juan Soto is doing in this year, there's no way. I'm not talking about can't build a good team years beyond, next year. I'm talking about you cannot lose this guy and do that to the fan base. It just can't happen. The New York Yankees of all teams can't let it happen. And it is a possibility because he's still not signed.
Yeah, well, he was never going to sign during the year.
But they hoped that he would. They talked about it.
I know. Listen, I of course you entertain that, like, internally, like, you're probably, I'm going to put myself in Hal's shoes for a moment. Hey, let's get him in here. He's going to love the culture, and he's going to be so deeply ingrained in what we're trying to do and feel what we're trying to do that maybe he will be receptive and amenable to an in-season deal, even though it's Scott Boras. Like, I can see why he would think that for a second, but I don't think that, like, really, like, on the deepest level of conviction that they thought that would happen. They knew that they was going to be pushed into after the World Series, and like I've always said, and eventually we'll get the answer. There will be nothing nebulous about this. There will be a scoreboard. The Yankees will either come correct or the Yankees will not. And I fully believe that they will. I have no doubts that they will.
Right, but they have to.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disagreeing with that.
And every home run that this guy hits, every time he takes the field, the price goes up.
That's right.
And he honestly, BT, he's pricing himself out of the Yankees.
No, he's not.
Yes,
Stop.
He is.
That sounds absolutely ridiculous.
No,
pricing himself out of the Yankees.
We had Brian Cashman on flat out. Like, they know that this is going to be a ridiculous price.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure that they can go to those extents.
Let me ask you this, Al. When they made
didn't for Aaron Judge. You think they're going to do it for Juan Soto?
When they
get way more?
Well, when they made the trade for Soto, don't you think now maybe the numbers changed to your point?
Yeah.
Okay. But don't you think that it was already baked into their future finances? Hey, we're giving up X, Y, and forget about Higashioka, but Michael King, the other pieces. We're giving up these pieces that we value.
Yeah.
We are compromising the depth of our organizational pitching to get him here. Don't you think that they said, all right, we got X, Y, and Z earmarked for Juan Soto. We'll deal with that when we need to, and we're going to retain him.
Maybe.
You don't think that they did that?
Maybe, but
of course they did that.
In season, well, how do they know what the price is going to be?
But they don't. But you estimate.
Okay. Well, how do you know? What was the estimate? What do you think it is?
Right now? Or that right now? I've always thought it was around $550.
Okay, and what do you think it is now?
I still think it's around there. Maybe
I think it's going to be up. I've heard the same thing from people. People for years, they think they know, and they have no idea.
I definitely know. You asked me what do I think. I think about $550.
I'm not even saying you. I'm saying like experts, people who cover the sport and that talk to agents and all that stuff. They get it wrong every year. Every offseason, they underestimate the contracts. And I think that 5 is a fair number. You do the math. You project, 15 years, whatever it may be, because of his age. And it's always more. And then there's going to be one rogue team. Who the hell knows who that could be? Could it be the Dodgers? Could it be the Nationals?
Seattle with Cano.
Whatever, right,
I understand that could happen.
That's a great example. So you could think, or we could think, well, 5, maybe 6. Maybe it's more. And I'm not so sure. Now, look, the Yankees do have the resources, but I'm just going based off of their actions and what they have said. They did not have the highest offer for Aaron Judge. Fact. That's a fact. That's not Sal's opinion. That's a fact. Aaron Judge was offered more money to go elsewhere. Another fact. Hal keeps talking about the luxury tax threshold. So to your point, let's say the Yankees don't get to the World Series. Soto and Judge have MVP years. Yep. Yankees don't get to the World Series. They still need to build out a team.
100%.
How are you going to do that if you have to pay Juan Soto $700 million when you're talking about the luxury tax threshold?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a couple of things there. I think, what the Yankees say and what the Yankees do, I think are a little different, and I think it's a little misleading, to be fair to the Yankees. Like, yeah, I know that they've leaned on the luxury tax, and we owe this to the city, and I've got a board of trustees to answer to. Nobody wants to hear that. So when Hal says that, it bothers us. However, the reality is the Yankees have the second highest payroll in baseball. All right, so, and they print money, number one. And I don't think, really, the Judge thing, I hear you, and it will be different with Soto, because I don't think he'll leave money on the table. But when you say that another team And you've said that a lot.
Right.
That another team had a higher offer for Aaron Judge. My response is, yeah, but he loves the Yankees so much he took the lower offer. Like, that's not a knock on the Yankees. That's a compliment when you say that.
Correct, but Judge was a homegrown Yankee.
I'm going to give you that. It's going to be a little different with Soto.
And by the way, the point is that the Yankees used to never get outbid. They got outbid for one of the greatest Yankees of all time. They were fortunate that he wanted to be here. They're not going to be that fortunate, at least I don't think, with Juan Soto, based on Soto, based on his agent, based on his actions. And that's why I flat out asked Brian Cashman, do you think you're going to have to get Juan Soto on a discount, or are you going to have the highest offer for Juan Soto? He didn't have an answer. They don't know what it's going to be. Even Yamamoto, they wanted him, but they wanted him at a certain price. Is that going to be the case with Soto? For me, it's got to be a blank check situation.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I really do. I really do.
And then when you do that, and they have to think about what this would mean. And I'm not disagreeing with you in they could build a team without Juan Soto. Yeah, of course. Other teams have been successful without having Juan Soto or a superstar. However, this is New York. This is the Yankees. You're having this type of year. Mm-hmm. Think about what this town would be like if Juan Soto left in free agency to go elsewhere. You think it's bad what Cashman and Boone and everybody else and Hal has felt over the last few years without winning a World Series? Dude, it would be another level. It would be anarchy.
Yeah. It would be anarchy from within the Yankee fan base, provided the offer was light. If the offer's the same and he wants to go hang out with palm trees again, what are you going to do? How do you blame the Yankees? Like, I understand it. It can't. I get it. He's got to stay. A central casting, lefty. I mean, Judge, Soto. It has to remain this way. You know, Judge is a little bit older, but Soto's got to be here for the next 12, 13 years and get retired as a Yankee and go to Cooperstown as a Yankee. Like, that has to happen. But let's at least delineate between, like, what the Yankees can control and what they can't. What they can't control is providing
the best offer.
Well, let's start even before that. Provide an appealing backdrop for him to want to stay.
What's they done?
Check.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
well, they went out and got him
scene.
First, going out and getting him.
True.
That shows guts that other teams didn't do. Other teams didn't have the guts, didn't have the wherewithal. Cashman forward thinking, let's get him in here now. I don't care what it takes to get it.
Show him the love.
Get him here now.
See what it's all about. Right. Get Judge behind him. Check.
Right.
I mean, so all these things, win a ton of games. Check. Now, what you can, and the other thing that you're going to have to control is what you write on that check. I get that. But and I think that they will. But if the numbers are the same, and he goes to the Dodgers. He's not going there, but goes to the Angels. Forget about you. Well, say he doesn't care about winning. Artie Moreno's like, you know what? Trout's on his last leg. Yeah. I lost Joe Ohtani. Here's $900 million. Boom. He bolts to the Angels, right? And the Yankees' offer is comparable or right there. Are we going to lambaste the Yankees? There's no way.
But I think the key is the Yankees have to have the highest offer. So if let's just say in that ridiculous hypothetical, and by the way, it might not even be
I don't think that's ridiculous. I think Artie Moreno's, the number's ridiculous.
Right. Hey, we don't know. Who knows? And maybe that's but maybe that's what it would take for a team like the Angels to land him. Who the hell knows? I mean, maybe we see something historic, a 20-year deal. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but you don't know.
I guess that's true. With the deferments, you never do know. That's true.
Even if we reel it in a little bit and give a more realistic, let's say 800, but the Yankees aren't willing to match that. Like, it can't be a Yamamoto situation. It can't be a Judge situation. This is different. They have something special here. I think they know that, but they're also hoping that Soto feels that he has something special. That's just how but bottom line is we could assume or think how it's going to go.
Yeah.
The New York Yankees made the great move of getting Juan Soto here. He has produced and then some. They cannot let this guy go. And it's even scary to think that he's not locked up now. This usually doesn't happen.
Just a couple things, just aside from the contract for a second. He is... It's very rare that, I'm sure others go through this, but I feel like, especially with baseball, I kind of know how good a player is. Yeah. I'm not saying like I can identify a prospect and say he's going to be a star, and he is. Like, we all swing and miss with that. I'm talking about like an established star. You kind of know who he is. He is better than I thought.
Dude.
I mean, in the last 2-3 years, think about For something that rarely happens for me, like where I underrate a superstar, think about Jalen Brunson, who wasn't a superstar when he got here, but think about how we thought one thing and he became this. And think about what we thought about Soto, which was even higher, and he's even higher. He's this. Like, to hit just from a baseball perspective, Sal, to hit a baseball the opposite way, 110 miles per hour. Look at this, Mike. So when you hit, like, as you're swinging as a lefty, right? You're hitting the inside of the ball. Right. You have to. I mean, unless you get around it, then you roll it over to second base. You're hitting the inside of the ball, which is kind of like a golf ball. That's how you get a slice. It's going to create a reverse spin, so it's going to tail toward the left field line. I know that's a little geeky, but I say that, and it's true. I say that because this man hits 110-mile-per-hour balls the opposite way, and they even said it last, I think it was Flaherty. He said it, he's right. When he hits the ball the other way, it's like somebody pulled it. Yeah. There's no leak. There's no, like,
he squares them off and hammers them.
It is just a laser.
Now, he has been, the reason why I loved Juan Soto was the postseason in 2019. Yep. It was just the most impressive thing that I'd ever seen. I loved it. And the most impressive thing to me about him this year is, and we knew this coming in, like we talked about, will the short porch be tempting? And no, because he knows who he is as a hitter. He's going to hammer balls to the opposite way. He's going to pull balls, of course, down the line, whatever it may be, but he's not going to change who he is. Think about what we are witnessing in the first year in New York. To be a Yankee, under the pressure, a walk year, Judge right there with you. I don't think that takes away pressure. I think that adds pressure. Soto had a lot of expectations to live up to. Think about what he's done. Like, Piazza didn't do this. Whoever, Beltran.
Reggie didn't do this.
Yeah, right. Think about the top stars.
A-Rod kind of did. A-Rod did. He won a couple MVPs, man. I mean, A-Rod did.
Cheating.
No, I know, for sure.
But he's able to come in here and deal with all those things. New York City, being a Yankee, living up to the extreme hype, the 1-2 tandem, in a walk year, looking to get significant bank.
Yeah.
And he has freaking delivered. It has been unbelievable. BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Sherrod is calling from South Brunswick. What's up, Sherrod?
What's going on, fellas? First of all, I just love the show. You guys are top-notch. BT, you're hilarious. And Sal, my man, let's go real quick. Let me just say real quick. I understand what you're saying about pay cuts and, Aaron Judge took less money to stay with the Yankees or they got overbid. My whole thing is this. Did we not know that Hal spoke to Aaron? Hal was up in, Lake Como, Italy or something like that, hanging out with his boys, calls up Aaron, has Aaron get in touch with however it goes, says, Aaron, what's your number? I know the Giants are doing this. I know this team is doing that. What is your number? Aaron gave him the number. I'll sign that check. He's here. It's going to be the same thing with Soto. Soto, listen, I know the Dodgers are coming. I know Cohen's coming. I know everybody's coming. What is your number? And when he gives him that number, he's going to get it. He's going to get it.
He has to.
As a Yankee fan, I have no doubt.
Yeah. Well, how do you have no doubt? I mean, did they get Yamamoto who they wanted?
Because history has shown us that.
No. History. Well, hold on a second. History. Did the Yankees want Yamamoto?
They wanted Yamamoto.
Okay, did they get him?
Did Yamamoto want them?
Oh, did they get him? Did the Yankees want him? Did they make him the highest offer?
They did not.
Okay, they did not. That's a fact.
Well, that's partially wrong.
Cohen jumped through hoops. He traveled the world and still didn't get him.
Who?
Cohen. I mean,
we're not talking about Cohen. We're talking about the Yankees.
All to himself.
Talking about the Yankees.
All to himself. He did not want here. He did not want New York. Yankees,
right, that's fair. Fair enough. But the Yankees didn't have the highest offer. But he didn't want here. I agree. So Judge also wasn't offered the most money from the Yankees, but he did want here. So now
he wanted it here because he wanted it here because he tasted it.
Right. Okay. But you don't know, Sherrod. You don't know. I don't either. You don't know what Juan Soto wants. And thank you for the call. You can't just assume because you're a Yankee fan and you think Juan Soto's going to do the same thing Aaron Judge did. If you go based off of the current actions and facts, it would indicate that Juan Soto's going to want the most money. And there is a question if the Yankees are going to offer the most money. Now, you're right. Maybe he does take less money. Maybe he says, I love it here so much. Just give me a comparable number, and I'm going to be here. That could happen.
I'm not saying that, by the way.
Right.
No. I'm not. What I'm saying is that the Yankees will do what they have to do to keep him. So I've never once thought that he's going to leave a ton of money on the table.
Right.
I think that's a little bit of a pipe dream.
Well, but that's Sherrod. That's what he's.
I can see why people think that. You get into lore. I'm not thinking that. This guy's a bottom line. He wants every penny.
And if
he
that's
wants money.
And if that's the case, it shouldn't prevent the Yankees from
I agree
bringing
with
it back.
you. Yep.
There are a lot of unknowns. We can think what's going to happen. Both you and I tend to think he's going to take the most money. Where we disagree is you think the Yankees are going to have the most money, or at least comparable to get him here.
Where it's
I'm
like,
not sold on that.
I get that. The biggest difference, whether it's other teams. And by the way, let me just add this before I even finish that though. We got a break too. But with the arrival, or if you will, of deferred payments now, like the creativity, the ability for the Yankees financial gurus to sit down and construct something that says, there's no way I can leave this, man.
Right.
If they can't do that, it is the most colossal fail that I've ever seen from the Yankees. Like, there's a million ways to skin this cat. You make sure he stays.
And that's kind of the point. Forget about what the team would look like or how they would have to build it without Juan Soto. They're in a spot now. He's put the New York Yankees into a corner. They were already kind of there, but because he's been so great, he has put them into a corner where they have no choice. Regardless of what the price is, they have to pay it to make sure they retain Juan Soto.